So, Spider-Man 2 has been out for a couple days now, and I've been playing the fuck out of this game. Spider-Man 2 was my most anticipated game of the year, and when it dropped, I was so excited to play this game. Now, I haven't really talked much about Marvel or anything on this channel, but I'm a huge fan of it, and Spider-Man has always been my favorite superhero in general. Like, I've been a fan of the character since I was a kid. I've been a fan of the comics. And as a kid, I would watch the Raimi movies over and over and over again. Like, I love this character a lot. He means a lot to me. As a kid, I was the biggest Spider-Man fan. Like, I legit thought I was fucking Spider-Man as a fucking kid. Like, this character means a lot to me. So when the 2018 game came out, I loved it. Like, I fucking loved this game. And I thought it was the best game of that year, and honestly I thought it should have won that year. Miles Morales I liked a lot too on the PS5 for what it was, being like a smaller experience, kind of like an appetizer for what was gonna come in Spider-Man 2. I mean, it did have some issues, but I did really like Miles Morales for what it was. But now Spider-Man 2 was out, and holy shit, ever since launch, I've been playing the fuck out of this game. But is it any good? Is it a good sequel? And was the hype worth it after 5 years? Well, let's get into it. I'm not going to be getting into any spoilers into like the story or anything, because that would be a douchey move to do. So I'm going to try to keep things as spoiler free as possible. So this game takes place a couple years after the first game, and I think a year after Miles Morales. At this point, Peter and Miles has been working together as the Spider-Man for a while. They're used to working together and all that. But now there's this hunter named Kraven who's been searching for his final hunt for years now, because he's on the verge of death and his body's given up on him. He goes to New York and in hopes of finding the one to satisfy him and give him his final hunt. While this is all happening, Harry Osborn has made a complete recovery from his sickness from the last game with the help of the symbiote. The Spider-Man have to stop Kraven from killing people for his hunt, and also have to deal with the symbiote that's starting to change Peter for the worse. Now, we all knew Harry was gonna be Venom in this game. It was at the end of the first game, and the trailers made it obvious that it was gonna be Harry. So if you think that's a spoiler, then sorry, I guess. This story is really, really good. There were a lot of really good moments in the story for the characters. The characters are great. Peter and Miles are amazing. In this game, they flesh out their characters way more, and which is really, really good, because there's a lot of moments like in the other games where you feel bad for them, and they have moments where they grieve over the events of previous games and they grow as characters, where they try to move on from those events, which makes them better characters, and I love that. The writing for them was great. I loved the writing. Harry was great here too. I love his role in the story. You really see how much he cares for Peter and MJ. Like, you start to really care for their friendship when you're playing the game, and then when shit starts, getting crazy for them, you feel bad, and you actually, give a shit about the relationship and them as characters. When Peter gets the symbiote, you actually feel bad for him, and like once he becomes Venom, you understand his motivation, which makes him a great villain and have a different spin on the Venom character. Kraven is a fantastic character in this game. I love how intimidating he is. In the comics, Kraven is an underrated character, and once he was announced for this game, I was so excited to see him. He's a fucking menace in here. He does not fuck around. He messes up the Spider-Man both physically and emotionally, and he's definitely a highlight of the game. Like, whenever he's on screen, you like fucking pay attention to what he's doing and saying, because he's a great villain and he doesn't fuck around. Now, Venom. This was the thing I was most nervous about heading into this game. We all know the Venom storyline, and once we learned Harry was gonna be Venom in this universe and not Eddie Brock, I was nervous but interested. I was nervous because in the past couple years they constantly kept fucking up Venom, and what he has been as a character. Now, your opinion on Venom, it can be what it wants, but I think Venom in the comics is a great villain, and I love him as a character, but like recently it feels like they just can't get him right in any material he's in. So once I saw Insomniac trying to bring Venom into the game but make him different, I was nervous. But I was also interested because this is also Insomniac. I had faith in them that they would do him justice and have a good spin on the character. I'm glad to say he's fantastic in this. His motivation was great. The symbiote itself is just like the comics, the way it should be. Like it messes with Peter and it changes the host. It's just like how it is in the comics, the right way. He was intimidating as well. He's mainly near the end of the game, and I do wish he had more screen time in game, but goddamn, he made an impact on me with how crazy he was. Now, onto the gameplay. Holy shit, this game is fun! Web slinging is so much better in here. It feels great to swing around the city like in the first game. I honestly just found myself swinging around, like ignoring the story a lot, just due to how fun the game is. They introduced the web wings in the game, and they're so fun to use. Like, you can really gain high speeds with them, and with the world being as big as it is in this game, like it doesn't get boring. It really doesn't get boring just swinging around using those web wings. It's legit even more fun to web sling in this game than it was in the first game. And I thought web slinging in the first game was amazing, but they somehow made it better. The world is so much bigger in this game, and it's crazy. The Spider-Man themselves are great to play as once again. You can pretty much switch to whichever one you want to play as at almost any time you want. They play like they did in their own respective games, but they're kind of a little bit different here. Now, Miles is still mostly the same, but he does get upgrades in here, like other special moves and other things. Now, Peter, this motherfucker gets an upgrade. He gets the symbiote in this game, and holy shit, the symbiote is so fucking busted in this game. You feel like a complete fucking badass when you're messing up enemies in this game. It was legit so fun to use. I would legit just ignore the story and do crimes just to fuck up enemies with the symbiote. It's overpowered. It's so fun to use. You're not completely like invincible when you're using it either. That's what's good about it, is you feel powerful using it, but it's like it doesn't get boring when you're using it, because like it doesn't feel like you're just destroying enemies and you have like no chance of like dying. It feels perfectly balanced. There were 3 skill trees in the game. One's for Peter, one's for Miles, and the other one is just benefits for the both of them in general. The skill trees are cool because you unlock other moves and make them pretty much more fun to play. Like, combat is so much fun. It feels better than the original game due to the symbiote and the upgrades both characters just have in general. And I thought the original combat was fantastic, and they somehow made it better, which is crazy. There are moments where both Spider-Man are fighting together, and that was some of the most badass shit in the game. There will be times where you're both fighting each other, and like once you do a finisher, like both of them like help take out one guy, and it's the most badass shit in the game. It's so cool, like trying to do a finisher and then Miles comes in and helps you, or vice versa. It's so fucking cool. Gadgets are bad. They were cool in here, but they didn't feel too OP like the Spider Drone did in the original game, which is good, but they definitely did tone down the gadgets in this game, which, depending on who you are, might be disappointing. At first, I was kind of disappointed, but like over time, I just grew to accept what it was. They definitely don't have as much of an impact as they did in the first game. And even in the first game, the only like really good one was the Spider Drum. Bosses in this game were way better. They were more fun to play and way more challenging than the other 2 games. And this game is harder than the other 2. I just want to warn you. I don't know if I'm just an ass player, but I ended up getting my ass kicked a couple of times by these bosses. Like, they really fucked me up. They definitely increased the difficulty level in this game, which is a good thing because it incentivizes to like get better at the game, which, you know, most games should do. You know, you don't get bored by fighting enemies because how easy it is. Like, they can really fuck you up in this game. So like it really incentivizes you to like kind of like plan out how you're gonna attack these enemies. And some of these enemies, like the new ones, they fuck you up. That's all I'm gonna say. They fuck you up. The suits in this game are really good, just like in the other games. You constantly unlock and get new ones, and they're always cool to get. It is kind of disappointing that each suit doesn't have a special ability like in the original, but you gotta think, because both Spider-Man have unique abilities. Like Peter has the symbiote, like Miles has his powers, like the electric and invisibility, and just add in special abilities to suits on top of that would kind of make them more OP than they should be. So I think it is a good thing in the long run, even though it was kind of disappointing at first. I feel like they balance it out with how unique these characters are. Now onto the midst, I'm gonna say the story pacing is here. Now as good as the story is in this game, there were a couple moments where it kind of felt like they were rushing to move on with the story. Sometimes it feels like I didn't get enough time to fully process the events and take it in, because the game is trying to move on and on and on, and it didn't really give me time to like fully like get what was going on. The original game didn't really have this problem because the story went at a good pace. It didn't feel like it was rushing, it didn't feel like it was dragging, like it went at a perfect pace. The game's story doesn't drag, but like there are moments where like you're playing it and you can tell that like it is moving at a really fast pace. The MJ sections are back in here like in the original game. They're a little bit better in here, but they still play very similar. One of the sections with MJ at the near the end of the game fucking sucked in my opinion. When they show up, just like in the original game, they're kind of just like, god damn it, I gotta play as this bitch again. Like, it's like I would rather be playing as Peter or Miles right now. Now, onto the negatives. This game is kinda buggy. I'm not gonna lie. Now, this isn't like a Sonic or Sid situation where the game is literally unfucking playable, but I did have a couple moments where the game would soft lock and I wouldn't be able to progress, and I had to restart the game. Sometimes the characters would get stuck in place and wouldn't move. There was one time I caught a couple enemies fucking T-posing, which was kinda funny, I'm not gonna lie. There were times in the story where dialogue for a cutscene would play too soon, and it would overlap the current dialogue that's already playing, so you couldn't understand what was going on. It is buggy. They're probably gonna fix this with a patch later on, but it was more buggy than the original game, because I remember the original game didn't really have this much bugs. It's nothing really game breaking from what I've encountered. I mean, the soft locks were fucking annoying, but like I said, they're probably gonna patch it later on. The science puzzles and like the mini games that they have in this game are lame. It could just be that I'm a complete dumbass. Yep, that's totally it. But these were just unfun to play. And there was a section where you're with Harry, MJ, and like you're playing as like Peter Parker, like no Spider-Man stuff. And some of the mini games are just like, you know, cool, I guess, but you kind of just want to go back to playing as like actual Spider-Man and swinging around. Now, do I think that this is better than the original game? At this point in time, I think it is. This might change later on, because I'm eventually gonna replay the game. I might change my opinions later on, or like I might love it more, but I don't know. But at this point in time, I can say, after really thinking about it, I think this is better than the original game. It was a fantastic game to play, but I've heard some people say that it feels too much of the same from the previous games, which I do understand where they're coming from. But personally, I think it adds just enough to make this game unique, and the story was so damn good, so I can't really call that a bad thing. This is just like the original, which is one of the best superhero games ever made. For the longest time, I thought that the Arkham games were the best superhero games ever made, and then Spider-Man 2018 came out, and I honestly thought it was better. And now, I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion or not, but I honestly thought 2018 Spider-Man was better than Arkham. Don't get me wrong, I still love Arkham. Arkham is still a fantastic like game series, and you can't deny the amount of inspiration Insomniac had from Arkham when making this game. But I think the Spider-Man games are better. And when Spider-Man 2 being as good as it is, I can't be happier, because it's just so good. It feels like what happened with the Arkham games is happening again with Spider-Man. I just hope that the third game, if there is one, isn't a disappointment as Arkham Knight. If you enjoyed the other two Spider-Man games, you will love this game. It is a great sequel, and you will have a blast with this. It is tough to say if it's game of the year for me, because Resident Evil 4 Remake is really fucking good, and I had such a blast with that game, and I don't know which one I liked more, and I still gotta process and think which one is a better game in my opinion. But goddamn, this game was so good. I'm not gonna be surprised if this actually does win Game of the Year. I'm gonna give Spider-Man 2 a 9 out of 10. That's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Did you enjoy Spider-Man 2? Did you think it's a great sequel, or did you think it's disappointing, or are you in the middle somewhere? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.